Welcome to Play by Players, an MLSPA podcast. Now here's your host, former MLS player, Bobby Boswell.
Thanks for checking in to another episode of Play by Players. Today we are joined by one of the young, energetic left backs in MLS. He's a former teammate of mine. He's a guy that's beloved in any locker room that he's ever been in. He's a ball of energy in a good way. Please welcome to the podcast, Mikey Ambrose.
Thank you, Bobby, and it's good being here. And thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Awesome. Well, how you liking? I know you're back in Florida for the second time. How you liking South Florida? A little different than Central Florida, isn't it?
Yeah, no, South Florida is definitely different. Miami's been awesome. Obviously, the beaches are all nice. The city's fun. All the good food everywhere is fun. Yeah, it's been fun this year for sure.
All right. Well, Mikey and I share a bunch of connections, not just as soccer players, but actually, I was born in Texas, and that's where Mikey's journey began. He's an El Paso native, which I like to give him a hard time about because I'm an Austonian, even though I didn't grow up or really live there ever. Was born there. But Mikey, tell me a little bit about growing up with being a youngster in a family with a lot of siblings in El Paso.
Yeah, no, I grew up in El Paso. Very different kind of city than what anybody else is used to. It's right on the border. Like you can literally see Juarez, Mexico from like my backyard. So that was interesting. So the Mexican culture was very heavy there. As you know, I love my tacos. I love my enchiladas. I love to salsa dance, but yeah, growing up there was different, but I loved it. It built who I am today, and it built me, and I'm very grateful for where I came from. And it was a lot of fun living in El Paso, and I always have a good time going back and visiting and talking to coaches and old friends from there.
Would you consider it kind of tell me about the soccer there? I mean, I would imagine if there's probably more Liga MX fans there than there are MLS fans.
Yeah, so I grew up not even knowing really the MLS at all. I grew up watching the Mexican League totally. So I was a huge Chivas fan, and I didn't really even know about American soccer growing up in El Paso because that's all we watched. All the teams were called Mexican teams, Chivas, America, all those Cruz Azul.
What team? What was your youth team?
Well, mine was Texas Fire is what we were called.
All of them except yours.
Except my team, yeah.
Okay.
No, it was fun growing up there. The soccer there is amazing. It's produced a lot of pros now. At the time, it was hard to get out of there because there wasn't a lot of connections. But since a few of us started leaving, then coaches started going down there and finding the talent. And as you can see with FC Dallas, there's a lot of players from El Paso that they picked up. And it just breeds soccer players now.
Okay. Well, before we get to your time with FC Dallas, let's talk about big life decision. I think every kid that wanted to play soccer always kind of had dreams of either going to Europe or going and playing full-time soccer somewhere. And you were actually thrown into that with the IMG experience. I said that you were in Orlando and now Miami. You were actually in Bradenton before all that. Tell me a little bit about what went into you being a youth and going out on your own basically and pursuing this dream.
Yeah, no, it was a pretty crazy childhood. Like I said, grew up in El Paso, didn't know much about American soccer or residency or the national team or any of that stuff. And I was just traveling to play as many tournaments as I could to maybe go to college or something. I didn't know yet. But then I got a call about residency and I was 14 years old at the time. And I told my mom about it and she was like, no chance you're leaving the house at 14. I'm not letting you move on your own at 14. But thankfully she trusted the process. And I was like, Mom, you really don't have a choice. I'm sorry, but I'm going. And it ended up being the best decision of my life. Went to residency, stayed there for a couple of years. And then after that, it just changed and soccer became the main focus of my life after that.
Okay. And I mean, I'm a little bit, a lot older than you. And that residency program, spit out a lot of guys. A lot of them weren't fully functional adults. I think you are much more mature and functional.
That's
What,
nice of you. Thank you.
I mean, yeah, I'm not sure, you don't want to know who I'm comparing you against, but those programs are tough, right? Because you go and you have no family. You're with a bunch of people that are all there for it's kind of the same thing, right? Tennis or soccer, golf, or now there's even more. I'm not sure what was there when you were there, but just talk to me the mindset of being around a group of people that are really all on their own from all over, not just the country, but all over the world.
Yeah, no, it's 40 kids that are 14, 15 years old. They get brought into this academy, never lived on their own, never did their own laundry or cooked their own food or anything, and put us together, 40, 15, 14-year-olds in a basically at a dorm, And yeah, it was the first 6 months was super hard. You miss your family, you miss like homecomings or all the fun stuff you usually do as a kid. But just the level of soccer there was unlike anything I've ever seen. And I learned so much there, grew so much as a person and as a soccer player. And yeah, it really sped up my growth as an adult. So it was I wouldn't say it was the most fun all the time. We try to make it fun by doing dumb stuff that 14, 15-year-olds do. But yeah, I grew there, and it created a path to become a pro. So
Yeah, well, I think we saw in Atlanta together that even 35-year-old men still come up with dumb stuff to entertain yourselves. So that
that's
seems to never
we had
that seems
quite
to,
a few of those.
that seems to never go away. Was FC Dallas? I mean, how did FC Dallas become? Where did they come in this process? How long were you at residency before you ended up in the FC Dallas program?
Yeah, so I was at residency for 2 years, and then afterwards, Wilmer Cabrera was the coach, and I asked him, I was like, what do I do now? Like, do I go back to El Paso and then finish 2 years of high school playing club soccer there? We didn't have academy there at the time, and then I was like, I don't know what to do next because I wasn't old enough to go to college. I wasn't getting like pro offers or anything yet. So I asked him, and he said one of his best friends was Oscar Pareja in Dallas. He was like, I'll give him a call, go play there, go live there, and develop for another 2 years, and then see what happens after that. So he called him. I went there, got an apartment there on my own, finished high school there on my own in an apartment. Yeah, that was fun.
At
And
16?
at 16, yep. Didn't even have my license yet when I first went there. I had to figure that out. And yeah, finished with the academy at FC Dallas, and that was awesome. We won a championship. Got to train with the pro team quite a bit, and then went to college after that. So
Okay. And then you were with the youth national teams, not just at residency, but kind of throughout that process as well. And you went to the Milk Cup, right?
yeah, I was with the 17s at residency, then the 18s, and then the 20s for a little while, and then after that.
And I think I always bring up the Milk Cup because I think it's the worst name for a tournament I've ever heard. But
sure.
tell people that don't know what the Milk Cup is, what the Milk Cup is.
Yeah, so the Milk Cup has nothing to do with milk whatsoever. It is a tournament in Ireland, and basically about 6 countries go there to play each other in a little friendly tournament. And yeah, it was a blast. I'm Irish, so I was excited to see Ireland for the first time, and I got to experience that culture a little bit. There was actually a crazy Irish wedding going on at our hotel during the tournament, and that I snuck into that one, and that was a lot of fun. But yeah, no, it was a great trip. We all had a blast. We did pretty well. Yeah, so it was a fun trip.
All right. Well, so you're a pretty highly touted, recruit coming out of high school, even though you were in the academies and at IMG. What stuck out for Maryland? Why Maryland of all the places you could have gone?
Yeah, so I had, thankfully, because of residency and academy and youth national teams, I had a lot of friends that were at different colleges that were older than me. So I picked top five schools, and I wanted to use my visits and go visit all of them just to visit my friends. And that was my plan. And Maryland was my first trip that I went on. And I had quite a few friends there. We had a blast. I loved the school. I loved the culture. I loved the history of the program. And that's all it took was one trip. And I was like, I'm coming here. I didn't even take my other 4 trips. All my friends were pissed around the country, but
Did they take you to Bentley's on your first night there?
definitely went to Bentley's. Yes.
And then for those that aren't familiar with, so University of Maryland is just an absolute powerhouse soccer program. It's produced so many players, and I think every player in MLS has played with a handful of Maryland players. And my first year in DC, we went up to College Park, man, and we went to Bentley's, and it was probably the crappiest bar I've ever been in at any phase of my life. But it's a big athlete bar, and it's a heck of a lot of fun. So I don't want to go too deep into the Bentley's stories, but I think it's great that you went there on your recruiting visit.
Yeah, no, I saw a game. In the game, the fans there are just the best fans in college soccer by far. And the atmosphere there is actually better than a lot of pro clubs. And we won that game. It was such a fun experience to watch the game, meet the guys, go on the field and everything. And then obviously the dorms are all cool and everything. And we ended the night at Bentley's, that hole in the wall place. And yeah, we had some fun. And I was convinced to go to Maryland.
All right. So you were at Maryland for 3 seasons. Y'all went to, I think, the national finals your last year. Was that?
My second to last year.
Second to last year, and lost to Notre Dame. Is that right?
Notre Dame in the final. Yeah, that one.
But you had what's that?
That one hurt.
Yeah. I mean, finals. I've got some experience losing in finals. It's not fun. But y'all were good. Y'all were a successful team. Played with a ton of guys that go on to become professionals. We'll get into one of those relationships later. But you did something that's pretty unheard of, and I think that's kind of the story of Mikey Ambrose, talking about sneaking into a wedding during the Milk Cup, going to IMG and living on your own, going to Dallas, living on your own. Talk to me about leaving college early.
Yeah, so that was very weird. And I gave a lot of thought into it. So after my junior year, my 3rd season, a team that I played with in the summer in PDL, Austin Aztecs, they were a USL team. And the coach, Paul Daglish, is a good friend of mine. And he called me up and he said, hey, I want to sign you. I'll come out of college early and come play a year or 2 in the USL and then move on to the MLS. And I thought about it a lot because I was still homegrown to Dallas. And they ended up offering me a homegrown offer. And not officially, but the coach called me. And then I had to decide there. And I had a lot of friends that were homegrown at Dallas. And it was just a lot of competition between like friends. And I had guys in my same position. And I just wanted to go out and do my own thing. So I said, I'm going to go to Austin for a year. And then I'm going to go to a different team and just start my own path. And that's kind of how my career has been, just my own path. So it's been interesting, but I've loved it. I have no regrets. I had a blast in Orlando, then I had a blast in Atlanta, and now Miami. So
you're getting ahead of it. Hold on, before we say that, I don't even know if you know this, but your first game for the Austin Aztecs, and it was a preseason game, was against a DC United team that I was on.
I remember that.
And Miguel Aguilar scored an absolute bomb. He dribbled in on, I think you might have been on the left. He cut inside. It wasn't you, but he hit it like an absolute bomb in the corner. And, but I just remember we went to Austin and we played in this tournament. And the reason I bring that up is, I say the Milk Cup is a stupid name for a tournament, but that Austin tournament, it was a preseason tournament. They gave you an armadillo trophy if you won it.
Yep.
And it's the greatest trophy of all time, and it's the dumbest thing for a preseason tournament. But I just remember I was looking through this stuff, and you're fortunately young enough that every game you've probably ever played in is on the internet now.
Yeah,
So I was able to go see that, and I was like, I was on that team. So that was the first game. And Paul Dalglish used to live in the same building as me in Houston.
nice.
So I'm familiar with him. Are you friends with him now, still in Miami? Because he's
Yeah.
down there too, right?
Yeah, we're still friends. We talk every so often. He's a good guy.
Yeah, he's an interesting guy.
Very
Good guys.
interesting, very good guy. A lot of character, a lot of personality with
A
that.
lot of banter. A lot of banter.
That's a good word for it.
All right. Well, let's talk about, you play there at Austin. As if it can't get any weirder, you get traded. Is that the right word? Traded to Orlando?
So the Austin team folded after the first year.
Yep.
And then I had a 3-year contract, and that contract got voided because the team folded. And then Orlando,
Dallas had your rights though, right?
Dallas had my rights. So Orlando, I don't know how they still had my rights, but they did. And Orlando had to give them like a draft pick or something. And then I ended up going to Orlando after that.
Okay, so let's talk about Orlando. You go into Orlando. Is this? It's not Orlando, the first team at this point. It's Orlando B at this time. Is that right?
Yeah. So I went to preseason with the first team. I trained with them, and I played half a season with the second team. Played all those games.
Is that and Adrian's the coach at that point?
Adrian was the first team coach, and Ant Pulis was the second team coach.
Pulis, yep.
Yeah. So I played that half with the Orlando City B, and then second half of the season jumped to the first team.
So your first 3 coaches were all British.
Yes, very British.
Which we're gonna get. That's important because it's about to get very different as you move on. But talk to me a little bit about your time in Orlando, mainly your first, playing with the 2016 season, which I think you were number 45. Is that
45. I've always had some great numbers.
Why 45?
So the B team had to pick the high numbers, and I liked 4 and I liked 5, so I just combined them. I don't know. There you go. Right
FIU
there.
college. I'm wearing this FIU shirt for those that can't see because of my college days, and Mikey's now down in Miami, so that's my throwback.
Great jersey.
What's that? Yeah. Well, the other thing that's important about Orlando is Paul McDonough is there.
Yeah.
And this is a reoccurring theme because he goes to Atlanta, you go with him to Atlanta, then he's now in Miami, and he goes out and gets you. And what's your, we joke around and say, how much money are you slipping him to bring you to all these places? But what's your relationship with Paul? And obviously he has a very high opinion of you to keep going out and bringing you wherever he goes.
Yeah, no, Paul's a great guy, and we've been friends for a long time. He liked me from Austin, and he brought me to Orlando. He liked what I did in Orlando, so he's just been taking me around. But he was also my agent Spencer's old boss, kind of. So they have a really good relationship. So that's how he first saw me in Austin, was because of my agent. And then after that, he's just thankfully given me opportunities everywhere we've gone, and it's been a lot of fun. So I'm very grateful.
And that's Spencer Wadsworth, former MLS player, played New England, went to Duke, big time agent now. He's a guy I might actually try to get on this podcast. He'd be an interesting interview for sure.
He's had a great life.
Well, let's fast forward to this jersey right here. Let's talk about. Tell me about going to Atlanta when you found out. Were you excited? Were you indifferent? Tell me about it.
Yeah, so I didn't really know what the expansion draft was at the time when I was in Orlando, and I finished that season in Orlando playing pretty well, and I met with the coaches after, and it was Jason Kreis at the time because he took over, and then Jason basically told me, "You've done really well. We're looking forward to you playing a big part next year. So go get fit, come back, and the spot's yours when you come back if you take it and everything." So I thought I was staying in Orlando for a long time. And then we were actually at the union meetings in Vegas and different people were walking out of the meetings because they found out a text or something that they got picked. So then the expansion draft happened one night, and I got a call in the morning from Carlos, and I was like, hey, I said, hello, good morning. Hey, it's Carlos Bocanegra. Like, oh my gosh, hi. And he's like, yeah, I just took you in the expansion draft. And that was the first time me hearing about it. So pretty surprised, but very excited. I knew Atlanta had huge plans. I knew it was going to be a huge club. So I was very excited, and yeah, and then we took the trip there.
Well, tell me a little bit about, I mean, I'm not shy at all about my experience there, and I'm very fond of, I think the club was, that was the first time I'd seen a club kind of doing the things they were doing, off the field, and on the field with the stadium, Mercedes-Benz. I wasn't there for Bobby Dodd other than when I played there and always won. But the thing that I'm most fascinated with was Tata, just the whole experience. I talk to Michael Parkhurst all the time about getting integrated there. And, just tell me a little bit about going from, where you had been, the coaches you'd played for, to Tata.
Yeah, no. So when I got the call to go to Atlanta, I was curious how it was going to be, because I knew they had big ownership. They had a big plans and everything, but the city of Atlanta, before the team, wasn't known for soccer, really. It was an American football city or a baseball city, and I was like, how is soccer going to work out in the South there? But when we got there in that first game at Bobby Dodd, it was unbelievable. That atmosphere there was the best atmosphere I've ever seen for an American soccer game. And it was incredible. The stands would come so close to the field, and the way that the sound just reflected, it was so loud you couldn't even hear yourself talk, really. It was crazy. And then going into Mercedes-Benz, one of the nicest stadiums in the world, that was amazing. But yeah, the best thing about Atlanta was Tata. I mean, he's, as you know and have heard, he's just like he's like a magician when it comes to soccer. He can read the game so well. Tactically, he's a genius, and he knows what the other team's going to do, and he knows how to counteract that in like a great way. So, and it's crazy that everything he said before the game would end up being exactly how it happened during the game. He would say, we're going to score a goal like this, and we scored a goal exactly like that. Or we're going to stop them like this, we stopped them exactly like that. And a lot of coaches plan for things, but the game shifts and who knows what happens. But for some reason, everything he said would be the reason that it happened. It was crazy. But I've had great coaches in my career. I loved Adrian. I loved Jason. I loved Tata, Frank, and then Diego. So I've been fortunate enough to have some great coaches. So I loved all of them for different reasons. But Tata was just that tactician. His mind was unlike any I've seen.
Yeah, no, he's special. And I came in late, and I was kind of on looking at from the outside in, and that's tough. And I know guys, I always say there's only really 10 happy guys on the field. Everyone else is not happy because they're trying to get in there. And, especially the group of guys that you hung out with weren't particularly fans necessarily of him. But I thought, you always had a good work ethic. And, I thought the interesting thing that he said about you was, I love that he called you a Boy Scout. One, just because, you're kind of a young guy and a boy growing up, in front of our eyes. But, he said you were always prepared, and he knew what he was going to get when he put you out there. You were prepared to go in and do whatever was asked for you. And, I thought that was a really big compliment for a coach to give a guy.
Yeah, no, I appreciated it. Me and Tata always had a good relationship. The first year I didn't play so much, but after that he gave me his chances. And yeah, no, one of the positive, or one of my biggest strengths of my game is that I don't care how it's going for me in terms of playing time or no playing time. I'm always going to be ready. I'm always going to work my butt off every day in practice. I'm always going to do whatever the team needs in order to succeed. So yeah, that's how my mentality's been my whole life, and I give that to every team I'm on. So yeah, Tata, he knew that and he respected that. So yeah, the Boy Scout term in our culture isn't the same as in their culture.
What do you mean, man? Don't crap on the Boy Scouts, man. It's a
No,
good thing.
I love Boy Scouts, but I definitely got some crap for that after I was called a Boy Scout from
Oh, yeah.
from
Well,
who in our locker room.
yeah, I mean, you're all about the banter, so you got to be willing to take it when someone lobs an easy one up there for you.
Oh
But,
yeah, for sure.
you hinted at something that I want to talk a little bit about. You talked about not playing a lot early on, and we've already said that you went to the Austin Aztecs. I know in Atlanta, before Atlanta 2 came around, you did spend a little time going to Charleston. Which is a fabulous city. I'm not sure if you got to experience the city, but I know you went there to play. And then you also spent some time with Atlanta too. Actually scored some goals, free kick specialist we got on the podcast today.
That's right.
But talk to me a little bit about the mindset. A lot of MLS players that I played with, they always hated going, it's not even really going down. It's going to get games somewhere else. But you didn't seem to, have an issue with it, or did you maybe later as you got more experience? But talk to me a little bit about playing in USL and moving from first team to, second team and back and forth.
Yeah, no, I mean, just like all players, we love to compete. We love to play games. We love to feel that fight of playing a real game. So I love training and everything. Training's great to prepare for games, but when you can't actually get into those games, you're just missing something. And I don't mind going and playing those games because it gives me that chance to fight, to compete, to play a real game. And yeah, you're right. A lot of guys don't like doing that because their ego gets hurt a little bit, but I'm grateful every day to be a pro. And you know that, how I am. I know where I came from, and I know that I'm blessed to be able to kick a ball around and get paid to do it. So I don't mind going and playing second team games, and I enjoyed it. And I actually got to take the free kicks there. Couldn't take them on the first team, so I could take them on the second team. Yeah, and you're looked up on the second team, so I didn't mind going into that situation and just having fun, playing some games, trying to compete and help those young guys. Yeah, I don't see any negative to it, but a lot of guys do, and I think they can adjust that mentality a little bit going forward because it does nothing but help you play in those games. But yeah, and
Yeah.
to go to your Charleston thing, yeah, those were interesting trips because it was fly out the day of the game, play the game, fly back that night. So those were some interesting trips.
Yeah. That's what some people don't realize, and they think guys are prima donnas and, so it's not a lot of times it's not glamorous, man. You go there to work and, especially the way the game's going now, you leave right after a game in a lot of places and, you never leave your hotel room. They control everything. It's not a vacation. It's work. But I understand being on the other side of it now that it's not really work. But you're still in it. So, we talk about you do get some games. You had some injury stuff. I don't really want to go too much into injuries, but let's talk about some success in Atlanta. You won an Open Cup. You won an MLS Cup. You won a Campeones Cup. You like that?
Oh yeah,
nice.
I
mean, I'm working on my Spanish.
Great pronunciation right there. Wow.
Yeah, but talk to me a little bit about what it was like to be a part of some successful teams there and to win some hardware.
Yeah, the Open Cup was fun. Campeones Cup was fun. It was more like it was just like I don't know. It felt good winning that trophy, but MLS Cup was something different. That's a feeling that's one of the best feelings ever in my life. When we won that trophy and got to celebrate on the field with all of our teammates and families, and then that amazing week we had after with the parade and all that good stuff. Yeah, no, that whole week and that moment was something I'll never forget for sure.
And I mean, do you look down upon some of your teammates taking that trophy somewhere they shouldn't have, or are you okay with them doing that?
Uh, I'm not gonna say I was there or wasn't there, but hey,
That's a
when you win
you
a cup, you can do whatever you want with it.
you earned it. That's right, you earned it. I'm giving you a hard time. Talk to me a little bit about how your time came to end in Atlanta, and you know how you end up becoming expansion Mikey again.
Yeah, so my third year with Frank started out well, got a couple injuries. And then at the very end, I finished well, played in a playoff game or two. And then, yeah, they decided that we're going to go in a different direction. I thought it was time to move on as well. 3 years at a specific club, I think is a good amount of time. So after those 3 years, I was ready to move on and got the Miami call. So another goal to try to go win something and in a cool city. So I was excited.
Awesome. Well, tell me a little bit about, I think the big word there, just from stuff I've seen with you, stuff I've seen with some of your teammates, is family, and just talk about the culture that we've got going on down in South Florida.
Yeah. So the club, their whole foundation is on family. It's a very Hispanic culture down there, as everybody knows. So family is huge. Family is important. So yeah, they tried to make it like a family there, and they try to welcome you, try to make you feel at home there, and the fans are just absolutely incredible. Through the ups and downs, they were always having our backs, always cheering us on. The best example I can tell of that was during that hurricane game. Um, I mean, you can't even drive your car outside. I don't even know how they got to the stadium because it was 12 inches of rain. Like you couldn't even move your car. But these fans were all packed in the stands that they could be in, and they were jumping, screaming, soaking wet, getting blown away by the hurricane. But they didn't care. They pushed through it, and we got the win that day. So it was awesome.
And you talk about it being very Latin. You finally get to use your joga. Did I say that right?
Yoga, yeah.
Your joga hashtag, and everyone knows what it means. I mean, are you embracing the lifestyle of South Florida?
Yeah, no, I love it. It feels like I'm at home. El Paso culture was very Hispanic, so I'm used to it. I love the food down there, love the people, love that I could go dance at different places. Yeah,
Have you been to Mangoes yet? Show a little.
of course I have. I love mango.
I spent a few nights in Mangoes, making people cry when they look at my hips try to move.
Did you wear your cowboy boots in there or no?
No, cowboy boots I save for Texas. I don't bring them outside of Texas, but
Hey, I saw you wearing them in Atlanta a few times, so.
those aren't cowboy boots. Those are just boots. But let's stay on you. Let's stay on you. Y'all had a kind of an up and down year. There's a couple points I want to get on. You made the playoffs. That's a huge thing. You kind of peaked at the right time. You have a goal of the week that you score. I love that. I thought one of the best images of y'all season, I think, is I'm a big AJ De La Garza fan, and you're running around and you jump. Y'all are both smaller guys. It's like who's gonna catch who, and you just awkwardly jump into each other, and you're soaking wet, and I thought that was really cool. But you guys make the playoffs. I think you kind of get derailed, and I made a joke about maybe Mate maybe got the RGs sharing one straw, but COVID hit you, and just talk to me about how the season ended for you individually, and then for the team in general.
Yeah, so it was a rough year for everybody. I mean, all over the league to have that huge COVID break, to do the Orlando thing, to not know how we're gonna finish the season, to everything that went on this year was rough. But and we felt that as being an expansion team, it was hard to build some chemistry, to build some momentum during all those things. But we figured it out about midway through the season, started playing better, started getting some wins, some ties. And then towards the end, we started playing a lot better. And we really had confidence going into the playoffs after that last game. And then, yeah, that last game, when I got to score my first goal, that was amazing. That feeling was amazing. And me and AJ both haven't played that much this year. It was a rough year for both of us. We both knew how each other was feeling. And right when I scored, I saw his face screaming, and we both just I think we tried to tackle each other, actually. I don't think that was a hug. That was trying to tackle each other. And we're both small, both about the same weight. So we just kind of just boom, just like that. It was funny, but that was a blast. And then going into that last game, the playoff game, we didn't get to train really for 2 weeks prior to that game. We just did like the individual thing that we were required to do. So it was really tough going in, and we're missing, I think it was like 7 players. So we weren't really set up for success going into that game. But we were happy to make the playoffs our first year.
Yep.
It was a fun year. Got to play with some huge name guys, which was fun. So yeah, overall it was a good year.
Yeah, and you talk about 2 things there: hitting your stride in the middle of the year. That's, you acquired a couple players that I thought were pretty key, LGP and Matuidi, and then you've got the big name guy you just referred to a little bit, and
Yeah.
Gonzalo Higuain. You played with Joseph and Miguel in Atlanta, who were big stars in MLS. Then you get an international icon, a big star in the world game. Talk to me a little bit about, how he's different than anyone you've ever played with.
Yeah. To go back to the beginning, we got LGP, which really helped a lot in our back line. He's been successful in this league. You know him. He's just a great guy to have on your team. And then Matuidi comes in, and Matuidi just really filled a hole that we had to connect through the midfield. And he brought that veteran presence, that leadership, that confidence. And he was a huge point in our team that turned us around. And then when Gonzalo came, he just brings a different class. Like, it's just, you can just see in training every day, like he's something special. And it's obviously we can see it of what he's done with his career. But yeah, he really brought that different level, and going forward, I think he's going to do some big things in this league.
Yeah, I think if we can keep his emotion under control, it's always you saw it with Zlatan a little bit, and a lot of guys that come over, their expectations, 1, from the ownership group is big, and then 2, the expectations of themselves.
Yeah.
And keeping that under control is hard. I wouldn't know. I've never been a world-class star with those expectations, so
Yeah.
I don't know who I am to judge that. But I think if you can keep him mellow-headed, I think there's big things to come for your team there. We talk a lot about positive people. I think you're one of the more positive guys that I played with. You bring a good energy. We both like to make fun of Harrison Heath and just rile him up. But talk to me a little bit about your attitude and maybe how your faith plays a little role in that.
Yeah, well, you just hit it on the head at the end. My faith is who I am, why I am who I am, and what I want to do with my life. I've been blessed to play this game, so I play every day for him and because of him. But yeah, I start my day with that, and it fills me up with joy and happiness. And I go into the locker room every day trying to have fun, trying to have a good time, make fun of some people, get made fun of too.
Yep.
Yep.
Two-way street.
More of the getting made fun of than the making. Basically, I'm on the defensive at all points, so I got to be ready to fire back.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I just love soccer. I'm just addicted to soccer, so I love it. And times can be good, times can be bad, but like I said, I get to kick the ball around, and I'm going to be grateful every day that I get to play soccer. So.
And then for those that don't know, your tattoo guy. You got a big cross on your arm. Is that right?
Yeah. I don't know if you can see it, but that's
there you
one.
go. And
Yeah.
what's next? I know there's a lot of big tattoo fans out there, and you post some of these things on your Instagram page. What do you got in the works? Are you taking a break for now?
I've taken a little break already, so I think the break is done. I think I'm ready.
No girls' names, right?
Not yet. We'll see.
Don't do it. All right.
But on my left arm is my Christian arm, I guess you could say, my religious arm, and then my right arm is family, friends, and memories. So, yeah, and I got some space back here, so I think this is the next spot on the back of the forearm. So
okay,
we'll see what happens.
All right. Well, we kind of hinted at you liking to dance earlier. I know I've seen you on some podcast dancing. We're not doing any of that stuff today, but I always like to try to let people know, especially a younger guy that's got many years ahead. Some of the other things you're into. You fancy yourself quite the cook. Have you been cooking a lot in this pandemic, or are you? Obviously it's hard to go out and eat.
Yeah, I'm always a chef. I'm a master chef. That's probably my best talent that I have.
I would say your best talent is not being short on confidence. But what's your go-to dish, man? If you got a romantic meal coming, what are you pulling out of the old bag?
So, I would say for my girlfriend right now, she loves my enchiladas that I make, and that one's pretty special. I bring back the El Paso culture right there. So my enchiladas are pretty good. My barbecue's pretty good. My ribs, my steak, my chicken on the grill. I got some stuff in my bag, but the winner is definitely the enchiladas.
Are we going to see a Cooking with Mikey Ambrose show at some point, or are you not ready for that yet?
I'm ready. I could be coming soon.
All right. Well, I like to bring that up because I love to cook, and I do think you probably have some skills. I've seen some of your stuff. The only critique I have is that in all the photos or videos you would send of you cooking, you always had a glass of milk at the romantic dinner. And I feel like that no dinner can be romantic with a glass of milk. Are you still doing that, or is that out of the window now?
I will do that for the rest of my life. Always. My favorite drink in the world is milk. I don't care what any haters have to say about it. I grew up on it. It's a family thing. I have to have milk with my dinner every night.
All right.
I'm trying to get my girlfriend to join in, but she hates.
No, that's your thing, man. Give her a glass of wine. You do the milk. It'll be fine. But I've kind of hinted at social media a little bit. Tell everyone where, if they want to follow you and see some of your dancing, some of your tattoos, some of your photos. Where can they find you at? Yeah.
So Instagram, Mikey Ambrose 5, Twitter, Mikey Ambrose 3, whatever y'all like to mess with the most.
You want to confuse them with the numbers, huh? You couldn't just leave it at one or the other.
Yeah, I don't know why that. I don't even remember why picking those numbers, but it is what it is, and I honestly don't know how to change it now, so it's just staying there.
All right. Well, I don't think I mentioned, when I was talking about AJ De La Garza, that's a former Maryland guy as well. Y'all weren't there together, but another guy that you went to Maryland with has got some stuff going on off the field that's worth bringing some attention to. Tell us a little bit about what Zach Steffen's doing and how you're involved.
Yeah, so Zach Steffen and his good buddy, my good friend Alex Cronali, started a foundation called Voice Now, which is an awesome foundation that helps lower income African American kids growing up in the kind of rougher neighborhoods of these big cities. And Voice Now is a way that athletes can come together and have a voice together to help spread the word about these kids that really need help, and a way for us to raise money to support them. Right now, we're trying to support them financially, but we're going to get to the point where we can basically be like a big brother to them and show up for these kids get to know them, see what they're going through, see if we could help them, be role models for them. So yeah, that's basically the gist of it. And it's going well. So hopefully we keep growing.
Awesome. Well, I know you were big into the charity stuff. I know we did some stuff with children's cancer and the hospitals in Atlanta. Good to see that you're still doing that. Really just want to say thanks for those that are hearing Mikey for the first time. Obviously, you've seen him play. He's one of the up and coming left backs in the league, scoring bangers. And I wish hopefully this pandemic is getting the vaccines come out and. But I love your optimism. I'm really grateful for you to come on the podcast today and let fans kind of see a side of you maybe they didn't get to see. And, just thank you for being a guest.
Of course, man. And thank you, Bobby. It's always good chatting with you. We have a lot of good memories together. And so it's good talking. And I hope everything's going well over there for you. And
yeah, well, I want some free tickets when I come down because I always go down to Miami to visit for the alumni weekend in my college. So I'll pop over, and Francisco Tobar probably won't leave me tickets or he'll make me pay for them. So I got to get you to leave them for me. So I don't get that player discount anymore.
There we go. I got you, bro. I got you. I'll have 2 tickets waiting for you.
All right. Well, there you go, folks. Mikey Ambrose. We want to thank him for coming on. He's a MLS Cup champion, U.S. Open Cup champion, and he's your one of your starting left backs for Inter Miami and looking for big things next season. So thank you again, Mikey, and thank you for listening.